Thank you very much, gentlemen. Bill?
Mr. Maynard, this question's to you. When voters are frustrated, the American trend has been that they blame the party in power. Voters have voiced their frustrations about the state of the economy. Who is to blame and why?
We all are, frankly. Everybody in this room is to blame. Everybody in Washington is to blame. We've allowed people to govern who think that the answer to debt is to incur more debt. We keep re-electing those people. We've told people in Congress and in our state legislatures that we want all kinds of services, and we really don't want to pay for those services. And you know, you can't spend your way into prosperity, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot. You cannot continue to take money from people who work for a living and give it to people who don't work for a living. You can't continue to do that. We've got to, please, lady, please. Yeah, you're cutting into my time. We really genuinely need to realize that our country is in really deep trouble. We are in deep debt. The debt continues to grow. We're about $13 trillion in debt today. You know, the Chinese are not in debt. They have a $2 trillion surplus because we've exported with our trade policy most of our jobs to India and China and other places in the world, and we need to keep those jobs here. And both parties need to work to keep those jobs here. This isn't, I agree with Congressman Rahall, this is not a one-party problem, and it's not about partisan politics. The public is mad at everybody. They're mad at all the long-time Washington insiders. They're mad at everybody who has spent us into the poorhouse. They're mad at everybody that won't balance the budget. And that's people on both, of all stripes, on both sides of the aisle. We've got to do just like you do in your home. We've got to pay our bills, and we can't spend more than we have coming in. That's what we've got to do, and we can do that, ladies and gentlemen. The morning in America is still in front of us.
Mr. Rahall, Rahall, you have 1 minute to rebut.
Those who paint such pessimistic pictures of our state and continue to point to the negative figures are truly playing a dangerous game. They're taking us down at every step of the way. They're talking us down. How can we present ourselves to the world, as I believe we've done a much better job in recent years, as a place in which to do business, as a place in which to raise kids, as a state that has a clean environment, that has a safe environment, thanks to our law enforcement and our first responders, and we give them a pat on the back as well. We are also a state that doesn't look for a handout, which my opponent would lead you to believe, but we look to work together, forming these partnerships to which I've already referred in my comments. We need to keep investing in West Virginia. Yes, there's enough political blame to go around to both parties as to why we got into the need for these bailouts and the need for the TARP money, some of which are proving to be successful now, by the way, as we see the money being repaid. But nevertheless, the blame game is over. Let's start working for the future by working together. Strength through unity will do that.
That's right. Strength through unity.
Mr. Maynard, your 30-second response.
I'm not at all surprised that he said strength through unity. That's the old slogan of the Communist Party, Mr. Rahall. You got to face facts. You may not like the facts, but the truth is, 1 in 3 of our kids, if you don't mind, I have the lectern. 1 in 3 of our kids in West Virginia and the Southern District live in poverty. That's a fact you may not like, but it's the truth. 135,000 of our people have left here because they couldn't find work. 1 in 3 of our kids don't graduate from high school. Cross the border into Virginia, you'll see how that's the state that's first in business, and we could be. We could be.
Thank you, Mr. Rahall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's look at...
We're moving on to the next question. This goes to Mr. Rahall. Due to recent EPA rulings, many in the Appalachian region believe their state's coal mining economies are under attack by the Obama administration. Is this a real or perceived threat? 2 minutes.
Oh, it's real. No doubt about it. And you know what infuriates me the most? Is that these political operatives that all of a sudden are waking up to the fact that coal is under attack. Where have they been for the last decades? Coal has always been under attack. Coal has always been under attack. I don't care. Can't you recall working together with Senator Byrd in the trenches, speaking to coal rallies in Washington, fighting acid rain legislation, working to protect our coal industry? You know, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of like fighting terrorist attacks. You know, you never, when an attack doesn't occur, then you never knew the threat was there to begin with. It's really infuriating. I am the most pro-coal member of Congress. Both those, my friends in Washington are seeing some of these ads attacking me, cannot believe it. They truly cannot believe it. They wonder what's wrong with the coal industry. I've been there fighting for the coal industry jobs, for our coal miners, for their health and safety, as I've said. And you heard me say in my opening comments, the EPA's slowness, their indecision, and their unequal treatment of us must stop. I have tried to work with them. I think you all will agree with that. I have tried to work with them, yes. We've had a few limited successes, yes. Not enough. I will agree with you. But believe you me, this individual has been in the trenches for decades. And, you know, it's really been a struggle. I often have looked around, and now today to see those same individuals with whom I have been in the trenches for over decades, now shooting unfriendly, or rather, unfriendly fire at me for not being there. Sometimes I really wonder what their true agenda is. I'm the guy who's been fighting to protect our coal jobs. I'm the guy that's fighting for our mine safety. Now, make no mistake about it, coal is under attack. And when we look in that primary campaign, we had a lot of issues a year and a half ago. I'm sorry, after the election, but in the early parts of this administration, and we still do. I'm there fighting it.
Thank you, Mr. Rahall. Mr. Maynard, 1 minute.
I am shocked that Mr. Rahall would say, where have they been? Where have you been, Mr. Rahall, for the last 34 years? The EPA, Mr. Rahall told the Beckley Register-Herald that the EPA is just doing its job when they're taking West Virginia coal mining jobs. Mr. Rahall is endorsed year after year by the Sierra Club, the largest, richest tree-hugging group in the world. And they not only endorse him, they give him national awards and they give him money, election after election, which he happily takes. You can't serve the Sierra Club and be pro-coal. You can't serve two masters. The worst vote, who's waging this war on coal? Who's waging it? The worst vote that Mr. Rahall casts every year in Congress is the first one. When he votes to make Nancy Pelosi Speaker, that's the worst vote he casts because it gives her the power to empower the EPA and the Obama administration and to kill coal mining jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Rahall. 30 seconds.
Let me be clear. I don't answer to anybody but the people of West Virginia. I am nobody's puppet. Nobody pulls my strings. I'm not beholden to any one party's agenda. I'm not beholden to some group that's out there spending money to defeat my opponent. And I reach across the aisle and I do work with members of both parties. I vote to protect the unborn, and I am proud of my pro-life record in the Congress of the United States. I vote to preserve the sanctity between a man and a woman. I vote to support families, to eliminate the death tax that I voted over 6 times to do. I vote a pro-family, pro-West Virginia agenda in the Congress.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Maynard, this question is to you. If the EPA doesn't regulate the coal industry, who should?
Actually, I think the state of West Virginia should regulate the coal industry. In West Virginia, let me tell you, we are capable of governing ourselves. We are capable of, I know that the people in Washington don't think we are. We are very capable of governing ourselves, of running our own affairs, and there is no reason that West Virginia agencies cannot monitor the safety in coal mines, cannot monitor the cleanness of our water and the cleanness of air. We have agencies in place to do that. They've done a great job over many, many years. The EPA's entry into water quality is something that's very new. Very new. It's only a few months old, and it only happened because Rahall voted to give them the power to do it, and a court said yes, they have that power under the statute that Congress amended with Rahall's vote to give them that power. We probably need some other federal agencies that have overlapping authority to review what states do. I don't have any quarrel with that, but regulation of the cleanness of our water and the cleanness of our air ought to be done by the people who drink it and breathe it. And those are West Virginians, by golly.
Thank you. You have a minute to rebut.
No, I have a serious problem with an unelected bureaucracy such as the EPA making decisions about CO2 emissions, about many of the issues that they do. That's why I have joined with other members of Congress from coal states and Senator Rockefeller on the Senate side in introducing a bill, a resolution that would delay for 2 years the EPA's authority, which they have under the U.S. Supreme Court ruling of 07 that gave the EPA the constitutional right to control CO2 emissions absent any action by Congress, and we have not acted. But I want to delay that. Now, the effort to delay it indefinitely failed in the Senate. So I'm a realist, trying to work for what will pass through the Congress, and there's still a chance that that 2-year moratorium on EPA-issued guidelines under the CO2 emission reduction program that the court has given them authority to do, there's a chance that that 2-year delay will pass. Now, I think that will give us a chance in the Congress to consider what needs to be done, your elected representatives, as opposed to an unelected bureaucracy that I've always had difficulties with.
You have 30 seconds for your response.
With all due respect, Mr. Rahall, the people who are making car and truck payments in the 3rd District and trying to make their house payments, 2 years isn't much solace to those folks. They need to know they're going to have a job 3 years from now and 5 years from now and 10 years from now. They're trying to raise their kids, and they're scared, and they should be scared, and they're frightened, they're worried about the future. They need to know that they're going to be able to raise their families, make their house payments, keep their houses, pay their car payments, and be able to live the West Virginia way of life. 2 years won't do that for them.